Three or four wifey, we're bringing it back. Today, it's going to be Caitibugzz, the accuser of GeorgeNotFound, okay? 10 million subscribers. His life is in threat. His career is basically because, in fact, this girl's accusing him of putting his hand under her shirt somewhat and tickling her at some point a while ago at a VidCon hotel room, okay? That is the story. Let's get right into the social media. All right, so you guys get an idea. So this girl is a teenager, but has basically gone through the lengths of all this to accuse a guy of something pretty innocuous. So we're just putting and contrasting all this like formalized stuff that's like as an accusation versus her attitude in general comparatively to the social media, just to kind of see like what kind of like bipolar stuff we're dealing with here. Okay, so first and foremost as well, I followed her Instagram or tried to like 5 minutes ago. No response, obviously. 174,000 followers. Apparently, after her accusation, she just locked it down, which is kind of pathetic because there's really no reason to do that. Now, you could say she's getting death threats from a bunch of like 15-year-old autistic Minecraft YouTuber fanboys. But I mean, that's not really a big deal in my opinion. The exact same thing with her TikTok 22.8 million likes, almost 600,000 followers, and yet still privated. So, again, really not helping her case here. What is she hiding? Now, another weird thing about Katie that I'm learning about today, she has this account, okay? It's a Tumblr. Now, Tumblr in and of itself is a super red flag. Now, I guess my older cousins could tell me about this because, like, obviously this is before my time. But if you were around in the dating scene, early 2010s, any girl with a Tumblr is probably not somebody you want to approach. I mean, at best, they're going to be a Lana Del Rey fan. So, I mean, this is really disgusting. But I mean, once you get past the really creepy anime, and maybe I'm too cultured to the Vowshites and these creepy neckbeard white guys that like having their profile pictures is this, but apparently behind that profile picture is this girl on Twitch, okay? This girl on Twitch has over 200,000 followers. Now, that is a huge e-girl if I've ever seen one, folks. And what are the subheaders for all of these streams? It's me and Rue YouTube video party, film pre-party, karaoke, my story. It's her, SA accusation, channel trailer, bugs trailer. So it's very immature, very much like high schooler sort of things. And she's not much past that age anyway. But I mean, it is definitely immature. Definitely, you could say, like not warranting such a big audience, but who knows? So before we go any further, apparently there's a link tree with something called boundaries. So you just know this is going to be a doozy of a person. But it says Caitibugzz boundaries. Okay, look, this sentence or whatever, this title is ludicrous. First of all, you go by Caitibugzz. It's like super tacky, straight up like 2008 7-year-old girl making up a username. Just really, really gross. And then when you go below, it says these are things Katie is/isn't comfortable with. Okay, last updated several months ago, so before the accusation. Anyway, general PSA, just because Katie isn't a minor, that doesn't mean you should sexualize her. Again, who is she to say that? And also, it isn't like I'm not comfortable with such and such. Like if you're a nun or even if you're Mormon, okay, I get it. But if you're going to be like this person living in hedonism, if you're going out to bars, if you're engaging at all with like guys, then for a guy to be like, is this girl hot or not? Would I date this chick? And she's an adult. That's completely in line with morality. That's completely fine. And there really is no reason to not do this. Okay. It just doesn't make sense. Now you could say like, it's kind of creepy, but it's not creepy if it's coming from me. Okay. Like if I'm a year older than her, it's not odd at all. Like at all. And so, I mean, this is just super off-putting. I cannot be sexualized. Again, this is not the girl you have a crush on in church, okay? This is not the 18-year-old in Bible study that's a virgin that is really reading Leviticus in her free time. No, this is a girl who's living in modernity, drinking, underage, all this sort of thing. And then asking you to not sexualize her as like a college-aged guy, really? Like, seriously, like this is such a red flag. And like I said, it'd be one thing if you were trad and chaste and you were actually keeping it together. But if you're not, then you don't have any position to ask me to not sexualize you. Why? That's ridiculous. I won't ask people to do that. That's ridiculous. Anyway, personal info. Do not search for or speculate about personal information about her if she had purposely kept it private and has ignored questions about it. Okay, we haven't broke that rule yet. But anyway, copying her, taking parts of her brand or online personality is as inspiration is obviously fine, but creating an entire brand based off of hers, copying her bios. Okay, who is actually doing this? So she is so narcissistic, such a big ego that she thinks that people are copying her aesthetic, which makes no sense, as if some C-list streamer on Twitch is going to have her whole thing switched up and stolen by somebody else. I just really doubt that, especially going through her Twitch as if there's anything of like profound notice in there, aside from an allegation over a guy who does actually have a real career. Anyway, swoon/admire. Katie is fine with people simping for her as long as they are respectful about it. She doesn't mind followers saying that they love her if it's clearly non-romantic. So, okay, so she's okay with simps. but she's not okay with people sexualizing her. So what do you think simps are thinking, you doofus? What do you think, they just like you because you're kind of attractive, because you're cute? Is it like when I had a crush on a girl in the second grade where I'd imagine like kissing her on the cheek and like holding hands and shit? That is not how adults work nowadays, okay? And like she says here, she is not a minor. She's 19, okay? So what is it to say like, oh, I'm okay with simps, but you cannot cross a certain boundary? That's just completely, really ridiculous. She's okay with people saying they love her as long as it's non-romantic. Well, then what would it be? Okay. Guys like to think about a woman in romantic terms, especially if you're young and you're broke. That is like chivalry. That is like knights honor tradition, that you love a girl romantically because you cannot spoil her. You cannot provide for her yet because you're a broke college kid that's a simp for her. You're not going to be non-romantic. That makes no sense. How can you love somebody non-romantically if you're some broke retard watching her on Twitch? It literally doesn't make sense at this point. Shorty says befriending her. She gets really uncomfortable when she likes an edit of her or someone's post and they tell her to be friends with them solely because she liked a post. It makes her feel uncomfy and discourages her from liking fans' posts, or especially posts asking her to be mutuals / comments for follower accounts asking to be friends. Okay, look, that is ridiculous, folks. So she is saying as a boundary that you can't call her your friend if she likes your comments and your edits. Look, that is true. That is weird. But I mean, it is so pathetic to actually type that like down. Just like, this is just stuff you don't mention. Like, seriously? Her sexuality. She does not feel the need to label herself. Don't feel pressure to. Don't pressure her to label her sexuality. So this is your potential girlfriend, guys watching this. She can't even label her own sexuality and you can't ask her what it is. Really. Joking around her is fine, but remember that you are not her friend, and if you make any joke crossing boundaries, especially sexual ones, about her or her mods, she will not take it lightly. Folks, imagine your wifey says you cannot make a joke about sex with her mods, okay? This is just a red flag after another one. It's actually absurd. I had no idea. Blocking. She has said many times that she will block anyone or anything she is uncomfortable with or finds distasteful. So a complete primrose, okay, tagging her. She's okay with being tagged on things like TikToks, unless it's a TikTok sexualizing her. Okay, come on. Location. People. Okay, fine. I agree with that. Cosplay. She thinks cosplay is cool. Gross. Drawing and animation. She thinks it's okay. Okay. Fan art. She's okay with fan art. So she's against NSFW. So she's a prude in one way, but is also completely in modernity. It has like this liberal dogma. Clearly has to be liberal if she's over here talking about Me Too because she got tickled by some decent looking 26-year-old guy who's a famous YouTuber. Okay. And, I spent a long time watching her breakdown video. Here, of course, where she's crying over stuff. Okay, folks? So think about it. She's crying over getting tickled. This is just ridiculous, okay? This is absurd. And I would go over this video, but it would take up your entire afternoon because I could really spend 3 hours talking about this. It's ridiculous, okay? So Caitibugzz here is talking about how, for instance, she is like, oh, I was under threat. It's absurd. So here we are at the bottom of the boundaries, okay? People breaking boundaries. Then there's this whole snitching paragraph I'm not reading, okay? Look, this is absurd, okay? I have seen plenty of liberal people, and honestly, I don't even think Hassan Piker would make one of these, okay? This is ridiculous, stupid. I think even Bernie Sanders would be like, what the hell is this? I once again must ask you to stop being cringe. And it's so true. It's ridiculous. I stumbled upon this on her Tumblr. I'm not even going to read this. This is way too long, but I mean, it just kind of shows how much of like an online person this is, to be on a Discord posting what seems to be like a 5-page essay. And what's more, of course, is that we're also looking at someone who is posting this on their Tumblr in 2024, which I didn't even know the website still existed. So that's just really weird. Okay, we're going to read the first couple sentences because these are kind of hilarious, okay? Been thinking a lot about my existence recently. Meaning alive, all that jazz. I mean, I've been alive for almost 19 years. Holy shit. And what the fuck have I been doing all this time? I couldn't tell you where I've traveled, been admired, written poetry, music, listened to songs, ate good food. I can't remember a single thing. Okay, so you're stupid. I could have cured cancer and I wouldn't have remembered. So this is just how melodramatic she is about everything, okay? So this is not really a wifey quality, definitely not even Discord kitten. I mean, this is just this a step below that somehow. Okay, look at this. Laying in my bed, second guessing my purpose in life. Who am I to doubt fate or doubt my past self? I trust that things will turn out fine, even if it's not what I planned. And not all of life has to be extraordinary. I'm just lucky to have lived it all. Thank you. Good night. So this is all over at worst getting tickled on the stomach. if that's even in reference to that. Okay, this is how self-absorbed this Twitch streamer is. I mean, this is actually next level. She thinks she's like Joan of Arc, like so persecuted, and then she sits up there at night and second guesses her own existence. Wow. Okay, so she posted this last month. It's finally time. The day I actually dress up as a ladybug, says the caption. Is this really, like, would you guys go for this? And I mean that, like, in a respectful sense, because she's such a primrose little, anyway, look, she has a nose piercing, by the way. I just don't see it. Guys, I don't see it. This has 3.8 million views, okay? So let's see what she's even covering here, okay? She's talking about a sexual act with the GeorgeNotFound guy who is found here, okay? 10 million subscribers. Just look at his phenotype. Just look at his comments. Let's see if he looks like a predator, folks. I wouldn't say so. He looks like a normal, semi-white passing, maybe Latino guy. If he's Latino, he's my cousin. I support him 100%. He's got a lot of high view content. And I mean, he just looks pretty innocent, to be honest. I really don't see him as a predator. Do you guys think he's a predator? And she's going to imply like, oh, I was 18 and he was 26. Okay, so what? So what? Who cares? Really? This guy, oh, he's such a frat bro. And this is not even like the senior dating the freshman in high school. It's not even that bad, even though it's an 8-year age gap. This guy looks like he has the sexual experience of a 19-year-old at best. Okay, this is not a predator by any means, folks. And so, I mean, it's just ridiculous. And, this girl is the type to say that, oh, I was a victim because, I was only 18, which is just ridiculous. Okay, ridiculous. These sort of liberal people are okay with, any rainbow acronyms, whatever, profound like idiocracy. But, God forbid you find an 18-year-old girl attractive in your 20s and then you're a creep. It just doesn't make sense. Maybe he had El Riz. I will concede that. Yeah, probably. But I mean, that's kind of cute and innocent when you think about it. Doesn't seem so predatory when you really consider that fact. Now, we could go over the DMs. I don't really care to. I know George is completely innocent, 100%. He has bad taste in women, obviously, just looking at her. But again, this is just so presumptuous. It's so rude to post this. I cannot describe how much this pisses me off. Karaoke, ... It's a miracle. Okay, so self-absorbed. This is the selfie she takes. I'm creeped out. She creeps me out. It looks like if a Chucky doll were somewhat attractive. Do you understand what I mean? It's a little bit like she's not alive. And I just don't know what's going on here. And again, very scary piercings. And frankly, folks, she is just scary. I mean, this outfit is not the best. And again, I'm being completely cordial about it, but it just kind of creeps me out. She kind of looks like Brett Cooper, but different. You know what I mean? Okay, so she's going to post this saying for guys on the internet to not sexualize her. Okay, so what is this then? Really? Guys, don't sexualize me unless you're hot, in which case it's okay. That's what she means, okay? That's the bottom line. This is a good picture of her, honestly. She looks kind of young to, I mean, this is not my type for sure, but I mean, she's pretty. But I will say, again, piercing, disrespectful. And again, oh, don't sexualize me, but let me put all these fucking smooches on my face. Okay, thank you. Captioned, struck by Cupid. Is this really, like, don't sexualize me? Why? Why not? Like, this is just ridiculous. It's life denying, to be honest. And she's mewing in this, by the way, which, you don't see girls do often, but you can kind of see she's sucking her cheek in. I think it's a better look than normal, but I mean, still, struck by Cupid, but don't romanticize me. Okay, then what are you asking me to do? Just like in a very placid way, be like, you're attractive, but not romantically. Why not? What's wrong with that? Like really, what are you asking of? It's like if I were to say like, oh, my 5-year-old niece, what a pretty girl with no attraction. But you're a 19-year-old girl. How the fuck is there not going to be attraction if you're an adult? What do you mean? Don't romanticize me. Don't sexualize me. How? What do you mean? Does she want to date a gay guy? Is she into gay guys? What I mean, it's really just a ridiculous thing. When you look at her YouTube channel, I haven't seen a single video from her, and I think that's pretty normal for a guy my age to not watch her stuff. But she's talking about getting her wisdom teeth pulled out, her 18th birthday. She went to Paris, VidCon. Did she mention the assault there? I really doubt it, but now that it's more convenient, now you get to hear about it. But listen, she's talking about her outfits. She's being bombastic. She's doing vlogs, how to be me tutorials. So she's dancing on camera. Okay, fine. But I mean, it's also pretty self-obsessed. And I think she has a superiority complex where she thinks that she's too good for everybody, where she's going to be an e-girl on the internet and presumably make a living if she's good at it from simps, but then also deny her simps any sort of like romantic interest or even allowing them to be attracted to her in the first place in a way that is romantic. I mean, it's a really rude thing. And it kind of shows that she thinks she's better than everyone. And, when she's scorned by a YouTuber's community, she calls him an assault guy, which just doesn't really make sense. It seems kind of like a tickle isn't a big deal, to be honest, but maybe I'm crazy. And she seems like to be self-absorbed. She's putting in like 5 paragraph things on her Discord. I mean, it's really disconcerting. And she has a Tumblr. Let me end with that. But also, before we wrap it up, let's go through 30 seconds of this so you get what exactly is going on with her personality quirks.
Hi, mods. Hi, mods. Hi. I love you guys.
Okay, first of all, she's super autistic, just the way that, I can just tell. But I mean, what's more than that is that she's saying, I love you mods in a very parasocial way, but then is saying on her own boundaries little tab thing that nobody else has. It's her own little like emotional tampon there where she's saying, well, actually, as a boundary, I can say I love you, but you can say I love you back in a romantic way. I mean, again, you have no idea how contradictory this is if you're a girl. I mean, I guess only guys get this, but like to ask a guy to find you attractive, build a parasocial relationship with you, and then also not find you romantically interesting is also just profoundly rude and stupid to say or even ask in the first place. I mean, it's like saying, you can smoke weed, but I just don't have to smell it. It's like, well, then what's the point? How are you going to do that? You can't. Take an edible. Okay, well, I mean, that's a different thing, really. So she has her follower notifications on Twitch on while she's fake crying or whatever have you on her Twitch stream. That just tells you all you need to know. Imagine your girlfriend or future wife is having follower notifications blowing up, her crying. It's actually kind of funny when you think about it. So, final verdict, 3 or 4 wifey on Caitibugzz. I would say personally, easily 3 or 4. She is, in a way, kind of like a prude, quasi-virgin sort of personality type, but then she's also like so life denying and so like mentally closed off from like people that she really grifts off, which I assume she's making living off of a bunch of like sexless loser incels, simps. And so, I mean, it's a very polarizing thing because it's not like she's a hoe in a traditional sense where she's sleeping around like a sorority girl. That's one thing. But at least a sorority girl is cool. A sorority girl you can be friends with, and maybe you shouldn't fall in love with her. That's a trap. But also, you can be friends with one, kind of. And I mean, they're cool. You can drink with them. But this girl is the type that you drink with, and maybe you make a shitty, flirty move, and you might tickle her a little bit. And then all of a sudden, oh, it's me too. That is not cool. That is like, this sort of girl is the reason why there's so many awkward guys that won't go up to a girl because they might get canceled. She is literally one of the biggest problems in society as I see it right now. This is not even like a MGTOW thing. It's not a red pill thing. I mean, it's just common sense, okay? When you have people like Stephen Bennell, okay, Destiny, a liberal, shill, neoliberal establishmentarian at the core of his precipice, you're looking at a complete wall of just complete liberal dogma. And even the guy who is really, really one of those proprietors is saying like, dude, this is really retarded and just so progressively dumb. And so here we go with Katie, just a complete 3 or 4. Even if she hasn't slept with a single guy, even if she's a kissless virgin, she is still worse than a girl that has slept with a couple guys. Honestly, not even a hot take. I'm being completely serious because even if a girl sleeps around a little bit, that is kind of normal. And I disavow that. But I mean, when you're like 18, 19, 20, I mean, it's kind of in vogue. But look, the point is that those girls are still cooler and are more likely to be stable into marriage than is this girl. Okay, Katie is completely neurotic. She's on Discord at 19, not gonna make it, in my opinion. And in regards to looks, I think she's like maybe like a 6 to a 7. Not my type, really petite. I'm not into that, but other guys are into that, obviously. But this whole like don't sexualize me thing while you're getting followers from sexless incels on the internet is the biggest crock of garbage I have ever really seen. Okay. And so honestly, she sucks and it is what it is. Wish you guys the best and adios.